Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session with EU Energy Commissioner Kadri Simson. My name is Andrea Gandolfo, and we're going to be having a fireside chat today. This is how this conversation has been described on the European energy price crisis and essentially which solutions. Without further ado, if you don't mind, I'd like to jump straight into the questions. And I will ask, very, I'd say simple, but yet important question when it comes to thinking about dealing with high energy prices, and is why has the Commission and EU member states shied away from introducing mechanism, or let's say direction agnostic support mechanism, and instead has decided to introduce essentially the toolkit which gives countries a series of energy specific focused ways of dealing with the energy price crisis?
Well, this is because of the obvious reason. In different member states, the energy mix is unique. So you don't have, one member state that has the same situation than another. And on top of that, the consumers have opted to different pricing and billing schemes. So the impact is very different. Of course, like globally, also in Europe, we do witness since last autumn high energy prices, higher than compared to the previous years. But we do believe that national governments do know the local circumstances best, and they can choose the best measures for their consumers. Of course, this was already before the energy crisis national competence to support the most vulnerable households. So in every member state, there is an in-place support scheme for these families whose income is so low that they can't pay for basic needs. But since last autumn, we saw that high heating prices, bills or electricity prices, they started to impact not only the most vulnerable households, but everyone. And on top of that, they had impact to our enterprises. And that's why last October, Commission presented the toolbox, a long list of measures that already, according to our current EU rules, are eligible. Then we thought that the crisis might be over by the spring, where there will be more renewables. But due to the war in Ukraine, the situation with higher prices has been prolonged, and it will remain so at least, until we see the solution for Russian aggression towards independent country. And that's why we presented second set and clear guidance to our member states how they can use regulated prices for small consumers, and how they can tax windfall profits so that by these revenues they can finance these schemes that are very costly.
Thank you. And I guess this is actually a very interesting way of seeing it, and I'll be very honest, I had never thought that it's true you're dealing with, at the end of the day, 27 member states, and so saying you're all gonna do this is very hard. But there is one problem, let's say, with the solutions that support energy bills directly, is that in a situation where we should be cutting consumption, they are in a way incentivizing more consumption because the average person doesn't see the price rise. What do you think is the risk there? How do you think you address that, or is just energy demand not that flexible in the context, let's say, of short-term dynamics?
I do agree that we have to cut our consumption and we have to prioritize energy efficiency. And this is also one of the work streams for us already for this year, because without energy efficiency measures, we will not be able to get rid of Russian imports. And overall, this was our plan to promote renovation, for example, already under Green Deal proposal. And if we will achieve everything that we proposed for 2030 on energy efficiency side and also on renewables side, then actually with added renewables and with savings due to the energy efficiency measures, we will we will, well, basically cover the volumes of energy that equals with the volumes that we import right now from Russia, volumes of natural gas. But well, we don't have so much time, so we have to do this faster. That means front-loading investments, and well, member states do have some additional resources. So, for example, recovery funds give them a chance to co-finance renovation activities, and most of the member states have announced that they will do so.
Thank you. Now, switching topic a little bit, and you've mentioned it a few times, diversifying Europe's gas supply away from Russian gas. It is a challenging task you've set yourself. Where are we in the process of securing alternatives?
This process started already in 2009. Then the crisis was, well, obviously very different compared to current situation. 2009, it lasted 13 days when Russia cut off gas supply to Europe. Now we are in the situation where the second month there is a war in Europe, and each day which brings new news about the atrocities that Putin's regime and army is creating, makes it well, makes all of us under huge pressure. How long will we import fossil fuels from Russia, and by doing that finances war activities. So we need a plan. We started to prepare the plan already this January. At first, we mapped all the available additional volumes of gas and LNG that are there for us to buy already this year. We reached out to all the major producers, the ones with whom we do have pipeline connection, and the ones who are major LNG producers like Qatar and the United States, but also Egypt. And pipeline-wise, we do have energy dialogue with Norway. We will have one with Algeria, and we have a new pipeline connection with Azerbaijan. This helps us to replace 1/3 of Russian gas. Then, of course, we mapped all the solutions where we can replace gas with other fuels, and we will prioritize the renewable projects. So European leaders tasked me to propose a new, shorter process for permitting of renewables, because it might take well, up to 7-8 years to get permit for new renewable wind park, for example. We have to shorten this process so that locally produced electricity can replace electricity that is coming from gas-fired power plant. And third option that we have to take seriously is saving. So together with International Energy Agency, we presented 10-point plan how to replace Russian gas, and saving is there also in a very prominent place. Well, overall, if we would like to help our governments and companies to get rid of the imports from Russia, then whatever we do that helps us to reduce our electricity consumption or crude oil consumption helps also the European market to absorb the situation where there will be disruption from Russian pipeline gas, crude oil products, and I think this is a situation that we will face very soon.
And what are some physical or infrastructure barriers that limit the speed with which we can transition away from Russia? I mean, the main argument is Russian gas, but there's also oil and coal.
Mm-hmm. Very true. And when I already mentioned that we had disruption in 2009, and compared to that time, we are much better prepared. 2009, we had several member states who were connected via pipeline connection to Russia, and this was only one-way connection, and only one entry point. So they had no other alternatives, and their neighbors, even if they had a supply of gas, were not able to support the ones who were cut off. Since then, we have invested a lot into infrastructure so that member states are interconnected, and the pipeline can deliver reverse flows. So we even can help Ukraine, who is very important transit country, but now we can help them with reverse flow from west to east if Russian gas will be disrupted. And then on top of that, well, obviously there is not enough pipeline gas available in our neighborhood. We invested a lot into LNG terminals. We do have lots of them operational already. And in coming years, with support also with the EU funds, there will be many more coming to the market. So now what we have to do, we have to secure that these LNG terminals will work in full capacity, that if we manage to negotiate additional LNG volumes, these vessels will arrive in the terminal where it makes most use. And then, of course, we set up also the platform to negotiate on behalf of Europe with producers so that we can use our power as a trustworthy partner and receive the LNG cargos with more competitive price than just leaving it to the market, because otherwise our governments will run around and will make higher bids and compete with each other, and the result will be even more unstable market situation than it has been in recent months.
A bit like it was done with vaccines and COVID.
Exactly. Well, vaccines are a very good example how pooling up our needs, we received vaccines among the first ones with very competitive prices.
Now, I want to change subject a little bit, and I want to take this energy crisis that we're experiencing from the point of view of security of supply and especially electricity. Greece, for example, had an ambitious, some say, delignitization plan, and now there are talks about extending the lifetime of some of the coal assets. Germany, we're also seeing there very big discussions around allowing coal plants to run for longer. Even France said that it might allow coal plants to run for another year or two. Has this crisis, this energy crisis, has the Russian invasion of Ukraine just triggered a change on how we approach security of supply, especially in the electricity? Or you think, no, that this is just like a temporary thing, that coal phase-outs will go on as planned, but just temporarily maybe halted?
Well, all the member states have committed to become climate neutral, and in the long run, the decarbonization is our priority. And I think that the current crisis also prioritizes two other important pillars: that our energy consumption should be covered by supply that meets the demand. So security of supply is an important aspect. And of course, affordability has been always a priority, especially when national governments have to explain what they are doing to their electorate. So all of these are now very behind different proposals that Commission is delivering. I do know that some governments have announced that they will postpone the phase out of some kind of power generation units, being them coal or nuclear, just to face this winter, because we have to be ready that there will be disruption, either partial or full disruption from Russian energy supplies, and it doesn't automatically mean that we will introduce sanctions from our side, it might also be on the contrary that Russia will provoke or will cut off from their side. So we have to be ready, because no one gives us guarantees. This kind of regime who does these kind of atrocities is not trustworthy partner. We have to well admit that. Now, what does it mean for our climate commitment? Despite the fact that there is a war in Europe, we do have climate emergency. We know that we are in the point of no return, and if we don't care about our emissions, then very soon there will be hundreds of millions of people who are living in the environment where all year round the temperature is not above the normal degrees. We all know what that will mean. Well, this might not have so immediate consequences, Russian shelling towards unarmed citizens. But still, if people are living in conditions where agriculture is not possible, where premature death because of the environmental conditions is a matter of fact, then we don't have solution then. So we have to act right now, and that's why we are still prioritizing also the emission cutting, and that's why we will prioritize as a solution renewables, because renewables are homegrown. No one can take off your access to sun or wind. And in the regions, in market regions across Europe, where they do have more renewables in the energy mix, the prices are, compared to the rest of Europe, more affordable.
Thank you. Now, conscious of time, I have one final question. Forgive if the statement sounds a bit controversial, I can explain, but can we proclaim the death of gas as a transition fuel? And what I'm saying here is not that we're not going to use gas in Europe going forward, but it's just not going to be the fuel that a year or two ago we thought it was going to be.
Last December, the European Commission proposed a proposal how we will decarbonize our gas market and how we will promote hydrogen. So this is a matter of fact that we will need molecules even after we will become climate neutral. Some sectors don't have other solutions, but these molecules don't have to come from Russia. They can be also
Hello?
clean ones. So I do see interest to produce more renewable gases all across Europe.
Yes.
This is also an interesting avenue for our farmers.
Yes, I hear you.
I have witnessed with my own eyes the projects for clean hydrogen that,
No, sir.
that have become major way earlier than anyone expected. A couple of weeks ago, I visited North Sweden, where they will launch first clean steel plant, so producing steel with green hydrogen.
Let me see it how
because
I can
they do see that there is a
here.
market for that, and in this regard, I do believe that gas has a role.
It should be.
This helps us to accommodate more renewables, because gas-fired power plants are solutions for the peak hours to cover the demand. But of course,
let me now see.
But of course,
let me see now.
We are in the situation where there are not
it should work now, I think.
so many cheap alternatives, and we have to be aware that the cheapest solution to control your future bills, energy bills, is to prioritize savings. So wherever we can front load the savings, we should do so. Yes, it means investments this year, but in long run, it delivers smaller bills, lower consumption, and it also supports our energy independence.
Thank you. Commissioner Simson, it's been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you very much for coming here and having this fire chat with me. Please, everyone.
Thank you.